Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Elder Scrolls Online Unraveled. And this episode is going to really be a continuation of what we were looking at in episode 1, which, if you didn't see, you should go back and watch, but to recap, it was basically looking at what affects the damage of your abilities. There were 3 factors that affected our abilities. They were the damage factor, which was either your spell or weapon damage, your stat factor, which was either your maximum magicka or maximum stamina, and the rank factor. So in this episode, we're going to take a look at basic attacks, your light attacks and heavy attacks that you get from just clicking the mouse. Now these are all done with weapons, so as you could probably expect, they're all using weapon damage. Spell damage will not have an effect on any of your basic attacks, not even for destruction staff or restoration staff. So we're going to go out and we're going to show that to be the case. For these types of attacks, we're not going to be able to use tooltips like we did for the abilities. We're actually going to have to go out and use the attacks on some mobs. For this, I generally recommend going to a lower level zone where you don't have to worry about getting killed while you're writing down numbers or typing them into your Excel sheet or whatever, however you want to keep track of them. And I like to go to places where the mobs are neutral. So I'm in Stonefalls just outside Davon's Watch. Once you do the quest here, all these ghosts turn neutral to you. It means you don't have to worry so much about picking up extra aggro. So one of the things we're going to have to do in order to track our basic damage is know how much damage our basic attacks are doing. So to that end, we've got another add-on running, which you might notice. The life bars there with numbers on them. This is from Foundry Tactical Combat, which is available on ESOUI.com and also at tamrielfoundry.com. I'll be putting the URLs for any websites I mention into the information below the video. But this is a fantastic add-on. It shows actual numbers for health as opposed to just a bar. And we'll get the scrolling combat text appearing above our heads so we can see how much damage we're doing with our attacks. Something which I like having. It's really nice to have. So what I have is a selection of weapons. We're starting here with the Frost Staff. And I have a damage 90 Frost Staff and a damage 22 Frost Staff. I'm going to have a series of different weapons here, all damage 90, damage 22, and we're just going to do a light attack and see how much we do. We're looking for these level 5 Spectral Warriors. So with the 90 damage one, 119. And I'll switch to the lower damage one, 49. Clearly weapon damage playing a big role there in that. So I'm going to use Wicked's Framework and Outfitter again, just like I did in the last video. I'm going to use that to switch weapon sets. It's going to be easier. So let me bring that up here. Here I've saved some macros here, so I'm going to click Maul, and we'll bring up our Maul set. Again, we're going to have weapon damage 90 on the first one here, hitting for 84, and on weapon damage 22, hitting for 34. Alright. Now a bow macro here. So I've got a weapon damage 90 bow. Let's see what we do with the light attack on this. Oh, 119. Oh, this is a mage though. We don't want to use a mage. We want to find a Spectral Warrior. Here we go. Here we got one here. It is still 119, and the light attack is 51. Great. Just get rid of him so we can switch weapons. And last we got Dagger. And we will try the Dagger out on this guy. 70 for the bigger weapon. And let's wait for him to get out of that. And 29 for the smaller weapon. Okay. Now one thing we can do here, just for completeness sake, we can find, where are we? Here we go, the Emerald Necklace of Increased Magical Harm. This will add spell damage. And we can just see if that's going to do any additional damage. With our dagger, we just got 70 and 29. $70, $29, so no, we're not looking at any different damage there. Maybe with the staff, maybe adding some spell damage might work. Spectral Warrior over here. We did 119 and 49 with the staff first time around, so 119, 49. So spell damage is not affecting these basic attacks. Good to know. We'll unequip it anyway. So as we learned in the first episode, all of your weapons use weapon damage for their abilities, and now we're seeing that they all use weapon damage for their basic attacks also. But what we also saw in the first episode was that your standard weapons like two-handed, one-handed shield, dual wield, and bow were all driven by stamina, and increasing your stamina increased your damage with them. But Destruction Staff and Restoration Staff were driven by Magicka, and increasing your Magicka increased the damage you did with their abilities. So what we're going to do is we're going to increase our Magicka. The same way as last time. I'm going to chow down on some Imperial City Stew. And before we do that, let's just take a look at our stats here. 1791 Magicka, 1166 max stamina. Let's get some stew. So much better when you get food from the high levels. The low level food here in Ebonheart Pact is all about grilled worms and plump rodent toes and maggots and such. Once we get to the high level food, we start eating beef and mud crab meat and stuff like that. So just like the rest of the factions. So right now we've bumped our Magicka up into overcharge territory again. So what we're thinking we're going to see here is some increased damage with this staff. Remember we had 49 and 119? Alright. So big staff, still doing 119. Which doesn't match up what we got from our abilities. Our Magicka is still doing the same, or our weapon's still doing the same amount of damage even with additional Magicka. Which that line seems to be based on. Well, just for completeness sake, let's swing them all at some guys. 84, that's what we got before. 34, yeah, here it is, 34. No change there. Let's get that bow. What do you see, 119 and 51. So, 119. Oh, 51. This is a mage again. We did that last time, didn't we? Alright, so let's try it on a warrior just to make sure. 119, 51. Alright. And last weapon we're looking at here is the dagger. $70. That's what we saw with no magic increase, and 29. So Magicka increasing by 200 hasn't affected the damage of any of these weapons' basic attacks by even 1 point. So I think I'm ready to accept that Magicka is not going to help at all. We have some grilled shank here for some stamina. Oh man, looks like I should be careful with that knife there. I'm gonna hurt myself. Let's see. Let's go with the dagger. Got it out already. So we're doing 70 and 29 before. 75. and 34. So we're seeing an increase there from stamina. Let's try the bow. 128 up from 119. 60 up from 51. So we're seeing an increase there as well. Oh. Here we go, it's hammer time. 90. And 40. So both of those numbers went up. And last, the staff. We thought it was going to be improved by Magicka, and it wasn't improved by Magicka. Is it going to get improved by stamina? We did 119 and 49. And what do you know? 127 and 56. Staff, basic attacks, improved by stamina. A lot of people don't realize that. Doesn't make a lot of sense to a lot of people, and people that do understand or do know that and have found that out, a lot of people not very happy with it and wish that they would change. They would change it. And it always feels like it's raining here in Stone Falls. And that about wraps it up for today. I'm gonna put up the numbers we collected. There we go. So you can look those over. While you're doing that, just want to thank you all for watching. I hope that it was informative. If you've got any questions, comments, feedback, please leave them below, or stop over to the Game Mechanics forum. And if you've got questions at Tamriel Foundry, and you can ask questions there, and there's lots of people who are helpful who can answer them for you. If you enjoyed the video and would like to see more, please like and subscribe. And again, just want to thank at the end to the add-on makers, Wicked, for his macros and outfitter add-ons, which let you switch gear sets and action bars, and Atropos of Tamriel Foundry for his Foundry Tactical Combat, that scrolling combat text that makes a big difference as far as being able to track down the numbers behind the scenes. Well, thanks a lot, and until next time, take care.